Hello, AniCod here, and today I'm going to answer that age-old question: what's the best way to destroy a garage door? What I'm not going to make you do is sit around and watch as I destroy a garage door with every single weapon in the game. What I'm going to do instead is pick a handful of the most common and least common and give you a heads up on what to aim for when you do come across one of these garage doors when you're raiding. So what's good about them then? Well, they're a level 1 blueprint. They've got 600 HP, whereas the bog standard normal sheet metal door's got 250, so you can understand why it's more desirable to have one of these. They also open from bottom to top, so the doors are completely out of your way. Nothing worse than a little tight base and you've got these doors from the sheet metal doors or the armoured doors that just constantly open into you and just get in your way constantly. They're relatively cheap to craft as well, costing 300 metal frag and 2 gears. You only need a level 1 workbench to build these, which is just insane considering how strong they are. Now we'll start off with the fun stuff, the explosives, then we'll move on to like the boring melee stuff that no one really wants to see. So the most obvious way to destroy a garage door is probably with explosive rounds. If you are lucky enough to have this researched and have them to hand, it does cost 150 of these to get through a door. It doesn't matter what weapon you use, but one thing you do have to take into consideration is the rate of fire for that weapon. For example, it'll take 150 rounds in a bolt action. It'll also take 150 rounds in an M249. It goes without saying which one's going to be your faster option. If you're wondering how much sulfur 150 explosive rounds is, it's 3,750. So it's not as cheap as you would have first thought. It's certainly not the quickest, but it's probably the most efficient if you're not worried about counter raiders. Now, speaking of counter raiders, you can put a suppressor on your weapon. This does dampen the sound slightly to make you less susceptible to counter raiders, but it doesn't get rid of the sound altogether. You can still hear it from quite a distance, although a C4 and rockets you can hear from much further, so yeah. If you're lucky enough to have a rocket launcher and rockets, it does only take 3 rockets to destroy one of these doors. This is a much faster option. It only takes between 10 and 15 seconds to load these rockets and get all 3 off. It is slightly more expensive at 4,200 sulfur, and there is an amount of fuel you need to spend as well. It costs 30 low grade per rocket, so to take one of these doors, it's 90 low grade and 4,200 sulfur. One thing to remember, what I didn't mention about using the explosive rounds, is these things destroy your weapons. So if you've got a couple of AKs, it's going to destroy these AKs before you get through a door. So if you have got a base you're raiding with 5 or 6 of these doors, you are going to get through 3 or 4 AKs trying to do it. Whereas obviously here with the rockets, you haven't got that issue. Now you've also got the grenade launcher with HE rounds. This is pretty effective and you've got a decent splash damage as well. It only costs 15 high explosive rounds to get through a door. Granted, you need to find those 15 rounds first, but once you've done it, it's a really fast and effective way to destroy one of these doors. Now that's not the only type of rocket you can use. There's also high velocity rockets. I'd personally stay away from these for destroying doors. They are cheap, but they're cheap for a reason. So it costs 25 high velocity rockets to get through a single garage door. That is around 5,000 sulfur. It doesn't cost any low grade to make these high velocity rockets, but that's still much more expensive than it needs to be, and it takes a hell of a long time to do it as well. The best thing about the high velocity rockets is to destroy vehicles, and that's what you should stick to. You've also got incendiary rockets. Unless you want to open the gates of hell, I'd completely stay away from these. These do absolutely no damage whatsoever. Excellent for destroying turrets or denying tactical advantages when you're online raiding, for example, but pretty much useless for anything else. I will get all of this up at the end, so don't worry about sitting there with your pencil and paper writing it all down. I've done it all for you because I'm kind like that. So let's get on to the throwables. Now we've got F1 grenades, which over the recent months have been buffed, so they've got a much better blast radius now. They do a little bit more damage, however they're not great at destroying garage doors. It costs 120 F1 grenades when you stick them, because you can stick these, you don't just have to throw them on the floor like I'm doing here. If you right click them instead of left click them, it will stick them to a surface, but the cost in sulfur is atrocious. It's 7,200 to destroy a single garage door. Again, F1 grenades, great when there's people hiding behind corners or in the bases, rubbish at destroying garage doors. One thing that took me by surprise is the bean can grenade. It's really not very reliable. Anyone what's used them before knows that it's hit or miss if your grenade even goes off or not, which can be really annoying, but they're not not too bad at destroying these garage doors. It only costs 42, and if you've got enough of them, like 42 in your inventory, you can destroy one of these doors in under 3 minutes. The cost of this is 5,040 sulfur, so it's not the cheapest way by far, but if the wipe is relatively fresh and this is all you've got, you can still raid until you find some more suitable alternatives. You've got probably the most obvious way of destroying garage doors, which is C4. It's quite expensive to do, but roughly half the price of F1 grenades, believe it or not. It only takes 2 C4, technically only 1.5, but you can't throw half a C4, can you? This does cost 4,400 sulfur for the pair, and it does cost 60 low grade for each timed explosive, so that's 120 low grade as well it costs. Again, if it's end game, you're not worried about wasting a little bit of sulfur on the excess damage you'll cause, then C4 is a great way to go. A fun alternative to C4 is obviously your satchel chargers. Again, these are like bean can grenades, they're really unreliable. However, it does only take 9 satchel chargers to destroy one of these doors. If you're really lucky and you get all of them to go off, you can throw 9 and have a door blow up in about 20 seconds, but the chances of that is going to be very slim. The cost of 9 satchels is 4,320 sulfur, so it is cheaper than the C4, but much less reliable. So what's the quickest and cheapest way? Well, the quickest necessarily isn't the cheapest. So the one I prefer is 1 C4 and 1 rocket. This does cost 3,600 sulfur, which is cheaper than the 2 C4 or 3 rocket alternative. However, there is a cheaper way which takes a little bit more time. So you can use 1 C4 and 40 high explosive rounds. This costs 3,200 sulfur. Remember, you have got the use of the AK as well, which you need to take into consideration, and also the time and the noise as well. Obviously you get noise with rockets, much louder noise as well, but by the time the counter raiders have got to you, I'd like to think you'd already be in the base using the quicker, slightly more expensive method. Again, it's your preference, but I'd personally stick with 1 C4 and 1 rocket. So this is not the only thing you can do if you've got tons of patience, and when I say tons of patience, I mean you've got nothing planned for the rest of the day and all you're concentrating on is breaking through 1 sheet metal door. The time it takes you to melee through one of these doors, you could just use that time to grind, get some better blueprints and make a proper job of it. So I'll start with a handful of less effective ones and work our way up to probably the most effective way of meleeing through one of these. The only time I'd recommend using melee to get through these doors is if you've already caused a lot of damage and you just need to finish the garage door off. For example, there's a reason I'm being a little bit harsh on the melee. So a rock, for example, will take almost 4.5 hours, and when I say a rock, I mean 353 of them. You might as well just use that time to grind. I can't imagine anyone sitting there for 4.5 hours enjoying the game, hitting a garage door just to break through it and find another garage door sitting there. You have got faster options like a hatchet that only takes just over 3 hours, and you do need 180 hatchets. If there's 3 or 4 of you on the same door, then it's still quite bad, but at least you can share the workload. One up from this, I'd consider a bone club. Really easy to get bone. You just find any animal or human and just craft one. You're looking at 2 hours and you do need 417 of these bone clubs. So unless you're on a modded server, you are going to have to keep running back and crafting more, and when you finish you're going to be stood in a right pile of clubs. The fastest one by far, what I found, is the salvaged hammer. So one person with a salvaged hammer can destroy a garage door just over an hour. You can just keep your finger on the left mouse and it'll just keep hitting. You ain't got to keep clicking it like some other things, but you do need 56 of these hammers. But before you all start running off crafting these hatchets to go and raid your mates, remember each one of these hammers does cost 1 pipe and 50 metal frag. So to get through a single door is going to cost you 56 pipes and 2,800 metal frag. Probably not worth it, obviously depending on what's on the other side. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As usual, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see the thumbnails of other videos I'm working on before the videos have even been released. If you're watching this on day of upload, I'm probably streaming right this second on Twitch, so come and say hi. If there's anything you think I've missed or anything you want me to cover, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see more of these videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button, and if you enable notifications, your phone will notify you every Monday when a new video drops. Again, thank you all. Thank you for the 1,000 subscribers as well. We're a little bit over now, so chances are you will start seeing ads on this channel, but just remember, any money earned will be be 100% going back into YouTube to make the experience better for us all. Again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.